On social media, the negativity that we saw in the run-up to the Olympics does seem to be dying down. Well, with me to talk about this is RT's news editor and social media commentator, Ivor Crotty.
Hi, Marina.
Hi, Ivor. Well, you've been following Sochi-related trends on social media. Have you noticed anything change?
Yeah, we brought some pretty pictures and maps for you to look at, give you an idea of what's going on. Right now, this is an image from Trends Map of the conversation that's taking place around Sochi 2014 and the Sochi hashtag. So give you an idea of the hot spots are obviously in the States and Northwestern Europe. It's really nice to see that there's a hotspot over Sochi itself right now, which means people are taking part of the conversation. Australia is also there. I'm very aware that this is a very Atlantocentric map, and I apologise to viewers from who aren't in that part of the world. Anyway, if we can bring up the Sochi problems map, this will give you an idea of how people got involved or where people are talking about Sochi problems. Here we go. Now you can see that there's basically less talk going on around Sochi problems than there is around Sochi 2014. Now, again, the hotspot areas are classically the United Kingdom and North America, Canada and the United States, almost exclusively. Now, we've run a few numbers and we've run a few samples for you, which we can take a look at here. We've prepped up. We ran a set through Trends Map of 10 million odd tweets. Now, if we can hold that for 1 second, I just want to give you a quick idea. This is around the Sochi conversation. This is around the opening of the Olympics, so there's a peak around there, and then the conversation dies down. Now we can run through some graphics and give you an idea of how the percentage of tweets that are taking place, or the percentage of what people are saying about Sochi, is more about the games than it is about Sochi problems. Here's the cities where that are most intensively tweeting about Sochi. Delighted to see Moscow and St. Petersburg up there with the global Twitter big shots. And if you want to take a look at the hashtags there, we can see this is global figures. So Sochi 2014 is figuring about 24% of the conversation. You add another 10% onto Sochi and Olympics, about 35% is straight up Olympics. Sochi problems globally trending at about 3% of conversations on Sochi.
Okay, so it's not as much as it was before.
No, exactly.
The percentage is going down.
So the mean seems to have lived a short but glorious existence. It's not without its merits. Here we've had a quick look at Vancouver, the former host city, of course, predecessor to Sochi. And as you can see, the guys are very fixated on the games in Vancouver. There's 5 tags up there before we hit Sochi problems, still treating slightly above average, global average at about 4% thereabouts. We can go, let's take a look at London. London's, again, we took a sample, about 250,000 tweets there. As you can see, the figures themselves all following the same trend. There's a big peak over the weekend at the opening and things die off. Sport breaks out at the in Olympic coverage. Sochi problems here in London, 3%. They're one higher in terms of its ranking than Canada. Let's take a look at Washington, D.C. as well and see how the Yanks are faring there. Out of a reasonably small sample of tweets, but again, Sochi problems is trending reasonably high there at 5%, give you an idea of how people are working it into their conversation. But that's not to say that if someone's using the Sochi problems tweet that it's all about controversy that's taking place in Sochi, or if you know, trying to be critical of the games themselves. Let's take a look at what people are tweeting. You can see that Sochi problems has taken on a life of its own. There's a lady in the west coast of the States who can't go to bed. That's a Sochi problem, Marina. Another who locked their keys in their car. Again,
what
the west coast.
What does Sochi have to do with it?
Well, you know, apparently some of the guys are having trouble watching the games and getting some sleep on the west coast of the States. There's a big time difference. Now, there's others who are saying that this Sochi problems conversation shows a certain cultural arrogance towards Russia, and I think that's what Guyane has been referring to in her report for us earlier on. We can roll ahead there, guys. Again, others who following up on that, saying it shows a lack of empathy and ignorance. Now here, I think we'll all empathise with this. We can look at some of the Sochi problems that are actually happening on other media. This is a medals table where ABC unfortunately mixed up the US, Canada and the Netherlands, the Dutch flags in their medals table. You can understand it's a high pressure, it's a sports newsroom right now. It's got to be a very high pressure zone. We can move it on, guys. Thanks very much. This was, of course, a Sochi problem. I'm really not quite sure how it's a Sochi problem, but it was a Sochi problem. Totally random, from the intensity of a newsroom to a guy with a desk and some screws. You know, that's a Sochi problem, screws alone on his desk. Now, and this is probably the most interesting one. An Austrian journalist working out of Vienna posts a picture of a building in a pretty poor state of disrepair. He says things aren't as they should be in the Sochi Media Center. We can roll up then and have a look. And he's immediately contacted by CNN, who say they want to permanently use the photo in all of their platforms and affiliates. The problem is that the photograph was taken in Vienna, not Sochi.
And this is not the first time we hear about something like this happening.
You know, of course, but look, it's social media. You know, it takes place. There's not a lot we can do about it. I guess you probably just got to sit back and enjoy the ride.
Yeah. Ivor, that's really, really interesting. What did you called it the Twinter Olympics?
We're working on the Twinter Olympics. I think we'll be hashtagging Twinter Olympics if we can get around to it. But yeah, it's the most tweeted sporting event in the history of Twitter. In the 7 years that Russia has been building the Sochi Olympic infrastructure, Twitter acquired itself 250 or 500 million users in the meantime, and became one of the most valuable companies on social media. So, you know, it's a changing world, a 21st century world. I'm looking forward to the World Cup with this, though. Should be a lot of fun.
Well, before the World Cup, it will be interesting what will happen on social media for the closing ceremony, and whether perhaps we'll see a different trend. And we'll definitely be calling you to tell us about all of those details.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brie.